Have you ever hired someone more experienced, more capable, more senior, whatever that is, and still felt like consistency didn't improve? Your team didn't improve at all? Most leaders assume that they still don't have the right people. What if the problem isn't who you hired, but what the business is asking them to compensate for? Have you ever thought about that? When things feel inconsistent, leaders usually respond in predictable ways, which I see all the time. They hire more experienced people, they upgrade roles, they reinforce accountability, they double down on culture even, right? We are customer centric, whatever that means. But none of those reactions are irrational. They are just incomplete. When service consistency dips, looking at people feels logical. It's the most logical thing to do. But it's usually the wrong lever because that's not it at all. The assumption is simple. If we get the right people, the experience will just work out, will just smooth out, will get better. And early on, that assumption appears to work. And the unspoken belief is better people will stabilize the experience. But is that actually true? In growing businesses, strong people do hold things together. It's just a fact. They fill the gaps. Your rockstar employees, they make the judgment calls. They protect the standards informally, formally, whatever that means. But what they are really doing is compensating for what hasn't been designed yet or defined. You see, strong people can temporarily replace missing structures. It's a fact. I've seen that working with most service-based businesses. But the breaking point is, as the business grows, this approach hits a limit. It's not going to work. It's not because the people get worse, but because the system asks them to decide too much. The system is reliant on people, personality. And at that point, effort stays high. Results may stay acceptable, but reliability then starts to vary. And that's the problem. The strategy fails not because people change, but because the system asks too much interpretation. And if you're asking too much interpretation, then that's where the inconsistency happens. And this is not a leadership failure, and it's not a talent problem either. It's what happens when people are asked to replace design. Because that's where it all starts, by designing a system. No amount of talent can permanently compensate for unclear standards, undesigned expectations, or inconsistent decisions or rules. This is not because you have a hiring failure. It's a design gap, and oftentimes most leaders don't see it. So the shift most leaders miss is that if consistency isn't designed into the business, your team is then forced to invent it, reinvent the wheel. And invention never scales. That's the problem. People don't create consistency. They just express it based off of the standards and systems that you create. And that's why great service is a system problem and not a people problem. And when businesses over-rely on people, a few individuals become the load bearing. And that's the issue. The owner becomes the backstop. Retention then depends on who is involved. You know it. And that's not sustainable growth. That's just fragile success. So when people become the system, growth then becomes fragile. And here's a distinction that changes everything, and that most leaders ignore. Retention doesn't come from pressure, motivation, or better hires. It comes from designing reliability into the way work is delivered. Retention should not be enforced, it should be designed. In the next video, I will show you why clients don't actually leave because the work is bad. They leave because the experience becomes unreliable. And like we always say here, to the customer, inconsistency is a risk. So watch the next video to understand why retention is a systems problem and not a people problem.